So what are we having for breakfast? Oh,
Oh, it's being recorded.
it's being
Okay,
recorded.
been warned.
We
I'm
gotta
having
behave.
two soft-boiled eggs with cottage cheese and an English muffin.
Wow.
Good for you.
What are you having for breakfast?
The same thing I have every day. Cottage cheese mixed with flaxseed oil, blueberries, ground flax seeds, and a fruit like an orange or an apple. Today it was an apple. I have the same thing every day.
I'll go back to bed about that.
How many of you
Oh,
have
there's
already had?
people.
How many of you have already had breakfast?
No, not yet.
Share what you had. Since this is a Toastmaster meeting, this could be introduction of yourself. Anna, what did you have? Louder.
You're muted.
I have oatmeal every day and a coffee.
So good.
Next, who? Come on, jump in. We got a few seconds left.
Oh, I had coffee.
Whatever wife makes for me, unless she sends me to a diner.
I'm having coffee right now. I'll have something later. Probably scrambled eggs and toast today. I've had cereal every other day.
I don't have breakfast
Hi,
till I
Chris.
get out with the Romeo Riders after this meeting.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Good morning, all. It's time for our Earlybird Toastmasters meeting, and I am Randolph Bastine, your Sergeant at Arms. The mission of a Toastmasters meeting club is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, which results in greater self-confidence and personal growth. As we continue to meet by Zoom, we ask that you practice good Zoom etiquette by keeping yourself muted unless you're an active speaker. We encourage you to use the chat feature to send a message to everyone or a private message to a speaker. And now it's my honor to present to you our presiding officer, Paolo Barone.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome at the peak of the week, Earlybird Toastmasters. Good morning. Today is not a great day in the world. We all know what's going on in Ukraine. It's hard to believe that in 22 we still see this kind of stuff. Unbelievable. And as history teaches, you never know how this kind of situation they're going to end. You never know. They might end in nothing, or they might end in a lot of things that troubles for everybody. So let's hope for the best. All right. We do need a good invocation today. Toastmaster Ilsen, let's see what you have for us.
Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters, this is a prayer of thanks in the Christian tradition. Thank you for your great love and blessing over our lives. Thank you that your favor has no end, but it lasts for our entire lifetime. Forgive us for sometimes forgetting that you are intimately acquainted with all of our ways, that you know what concerns us you cover us as with a shield. We ask for your guidance so that we might walk fully in your blessing and goodness today. We ask that your face would shine on us, that you would open the right doors for our lives and for our loved ones, that you would close the wrong doors and protect us from those we need to walk away from. Please face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hoorah.
Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ilsen. And now we need a good joke. Who else other than Toastmaster Richmond can deliver amazing joke with very little notice? She always steps up to the plate and delivers a great joke. Please, take it away.
Oh, okay. This morning I'm going to share some Paraprosdokans. Stephen Wright was a wannabe scientist who once said, I woke up this morning and all of my stuff had been stolen and replaced by exact duplicates. He was like Winston Churchill, who liked paraprosdokans, which are figures of speech in which the latter part of the sentence or phrase is surprising or unexpected. I'm just going to give you a few. Number one, I'd kill for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay.
Borrow money from pessimists because they don't expect it back.
I love it.
Half the people you know are below average. And I'll just end with this. We're all early birds. The early bird may get the worm, but it's the second mouse that gets the cheese. Mr. President.
Thank you. She never disappoints. Never. Now, Richmond, since you're also the grammarian of the day, we are very to know what the word is today.
Can I have screen share? I'm sorry.
Yes, you
Screen
can have
share? Yeah.
everything you want. Please
Wait, hold
provide
on.
share to Toastmaster Richmond.
Okay, it is. The word of the day is conversant, familiar or knowledgeable with, about something. For example, some early birds members, Toastmasters, are conversant with several different languages. Another one is my hip grandma surprises people when they find out how conversant she is in pop culture. Conversant is the word of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Richmond. Thank you. And let me ask you something. You are a distinguished Toastmaster, right? Toastmaster
Say
Richmond?
what?
Are you,
I am a
okay, no, I want to make sure we call the way it is, a distinguished Toastmaster. So I want to make sure who is the distinguished Toastmaster.
No.
So who is it?
Not yet.
We have
Not yet.
Toastmaster Barkley, I believe Toastmaster Gold, right? Distinguished Toastmaster? No. Who else is distinguished Toastmaster?
Mary Helen.
Jim
Jim
Day.
Day.
Day and Mary Ellen Day. Okay, perfect. All right. Let's
Also Kip Barkley.
yes. So Barkley, Day. All right, perfect. We got it. All right. So let's start with the self-introduction. Remember the word of the day,
Conversant.
Conversant. All right, let's try to use in our self-introduction. Distinguished Toastmaster Jim Day. All right, please take it away.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Jim Day, DTM. And I don't know what I am conversant in. Possibly motorcycle safety. And that's probably it. Just motorcycle safety. I still get up every morning. I can still ride the bike and come home without any scratches on it. Mr. Toastmaster, or Mr. President.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Day. Toastmaster Tom Quinn, please.
Buongiorno, Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters. Mr. President, I saw you attend the meeting last night where the speeches, wonderful presentations. What joy. I am not conversant with electronic media, as obvious the fumbling and the bumbling that I do as I get in and out of my Toastmaster meetings. However, I'm learning, and hopefully I will become conversant. Mr. President.
Yes, I saw you yesterday also on the screen. I was on a mission. I was checking my competition because my contest is on Saturday. So I was trying to have an idea in case I go over the area contest who I'm going to compete with. So get ready. All right. Next, Toastmaster Paisan Carmine Tuasso. Yeah.
Hey, good morning, my fellow spiritual brothers and sisters. I'm conversant with many different things, but one of the things I'm really conversant with is my spiritual brothers through Zoom. I have a couple of spiritual brothers whom I've never met. One lives in Texas, one lives in St. Louis, and I was able to have lunch with him because he has a house up in Delray. And I've already been conversant with them through technology. So the one in Texas sent me a nice message, and I want to share it with you. He reads widely, although he's not formally educated, he reads widely. This is from Plato. A true friend holds us lovingly accountable to our own ideals, but is also able to forgive over and over the ways in which we fall short of them, and can assure us that we are more than our stumbles, that we are shaped by them, but not defined by them, that we will survive them with our personhood and the friendship intact. I love that. And I got that at 6 o'clock this morning from my spiritual brother in Texas, whom I've never met. Love you all.
And we love you too. All right. DTM Barkley. DTM, please.
Yeah, Markley will wake up and try to think of something he's conversant in. Oh, that's so hard. It's not Spanish. I wish it were, but well, it's just another day in the neighborhood, and I am glad to be here, fellow Toastmaster.
Toastmaster Richmond.
Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters. I'm becoming more conversant on the Pathways projects as I'm trying to explain it to my younger Toastmasters, but I've really become conversant on preparations for winter and how to survive here in Pennsylvania. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Richmond. And now to our newest member, let's make sure I pronounce his name correctly. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because here at Earlybird Toastmaster, we want to make sure we pronounce every name correctly. Toastmaster Scott May, is it correct?
Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters, yes, that is correct.
Perfect.
Good morning. I am very conversant in all the areas of knowing that I am not conversant in. So of that, I am conversant. Mr. President.
Thank you, Toastmaster May. Glad to have you here as a member. All right, Toastmaster Bastine, our Sergeant at Arms.
Good morning, Mr. President and all Toastmasters and any most welcome guests. I am Randolph Bastine, Motivational Strategies 1 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I would like to be more conversant in the game golf, but I'm not right now. Where I am conversant in is paper and music. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. President.
It's not bad. Hey, news. All right. Only Delphine. All right. Toastmaster Anna Ilsen. The stage is yours.
Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters, my name is Anna Ilsen, Innovative Planner 3, Engaging Humor 3. I am fully conversant in Spanglish. Mr. President.
Gracias. All right. Thank you, Toastmaster Ilsen. And now let's hear from Toastmaster Marie Rock.
Good morning, Mr. President, Paolo Baroni, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Marie Rock, and I am a Visionary Communicator 5, Strategic Relationships 2. I'm careful to be aware that I am not conversant in most things. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rock. Let's hear now from Pam Scrimshire.
Good morning, Mr. Presiding Officers, DTMs, my fellow Toastmasters. Yes, I'm Pam Scrimshire in Windermere, Florida. I am Strategic Planning 4 and working on engaging humor. And sadly, I am becoming conversant on how expensive new roofs are in Windermere, Florida, because I will be buying one of those glamour purchases very soon. Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Toastmaster Scrimshire. All right, now this one is a little bit difficult, but I want to make sure I pronounce it correctly. It's not gold, is it gold, correct? It's not gold, it's gold. What is it? Gold. Gold.
Goo. Goo.
Good. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmaster Chris Gold.
Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters, yes, I am Advanced Toastmaster PM5 Chris Gould, and we, in case you can't tell, are in our RV right now. There's Jim up in the Studio A, and I'm back in Studio B. And we are at an RV park over in Arcadia where we've been teaching because we are conversant in geek speak. And we had a hands-on smartphone photography class the other day, and I asked people what they wanted to learn, and they seemed like they were maybe a bit more conversant than I had expected, and I was going to have to reach into my bag of tricks and show them some other stuff. But no, we started with a very, very basic thing, and a woman told me later that was just going to change her life. So I'm going to share with you. When you're using your phone as a phone, you hold it this way. When you're holding your phone as a camera, you should hold it like a camera in the horizontal. And then the volume buttons will be right under your thumb, and you can use a volume button to click the shutter button. So you don't have to lift a finger to tap the dot on the screen. You just press the volume button either up or down, and that will take the picture. So my tip of the day. Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Gold. I had no idea of that. Thank you very much. Thank you. And let's hear now from the gentleman right behind you, which I believe is Jim Gould.
Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters, I am competent Toastmaster Jim Gould. I also have a couple of paths going, and I'm happy about that. And yes, I'm conversant in geek speak as well. I'm not as good at translating geek into English as Chris is, but I do have a tip with that. And did you know that earbuds have volume controls? You can use the volume control on your earbuds to control your shutter. Mr. President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gold. Thank you. Let's hear now from the lady right next to you on Zoom land, which is Toastmaster Louise Lane. Please.
Good morning, Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters, and any guests that we have. I'm sorry I was not able to be on time. I'm learning to converse and be in the now, Mr. President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Louise Lane. And now let's hear from another three distinguished Toastmasters in the room, DTM, Mary Helen Day.
Yes, good morning, Mr. President and fellow Toastmasters. I am conversant in a lot of things because my knowledge base is strictly superficial. So that means I can start a conversation with anyone, but it can only last a few minutes because after that, I'm out of my depth. Mr. President, Mary Helen Day.
Thank you, DTM Day. And yes, my name is Paolo Barone, the crazy presiding officer of this beautiful club, Earlybird Toastmasters, coming to you via Zoom from Miami. And yes, I am conversant in a few languages, English, Italian, Portuguese, bom dia, and Spanish. Buenos dias, señores, señores. All right, let's get this meeting going with the Toastmaster of the day, which is today's, oh, wow, yes, Toastmaster Marie Rock. Let's welcome to the stage with a huge round of applause of Toastmaster Rock.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, for your raucous applause. In Toastmasters, we learn to be conversant in many areas. Our meetings are divided into 3 areas, which include all of the main areas of communication. The first is impromptu speaking. The second is speaking. And the third is listening. So we have some helpers with this meeting. And the first, do we have an awe counter today?
I can be an odd counter.
Toastmaster Bastine, thank you. What does the awe counter do?
I will be paying attention to language and verbal pauses like what I just did, you know, and the ahs. So, and at the end of the meeting, I will let everyone know, but this club is usually pretty good and has very few. So thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bastine. And it's your vigilance as awe counters that keeps us on track with our verbal pauses. Then we have the grammarian who we've met earlier today, but tell us more about what you will be doing, Toastmaster Richmond.
Yes, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. I've already presented the word of the day, which is conversant, but the grammarian will note the use of good language, naming the member and the example. Incorrect grammar will be corrected without reference to the member. And hopefully we'll have some kind of award, maybe just a bottle of refreshing spring water to the best hey, whoever I choose to be the best, get it. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Richmond. We will look forward to your report. Now we have the time of the meeting where we don't know who will be called upon to be conversant in table topics. Please welcome. Oh, I'd like to acknowledge our timer. We will hear more from distinguished Toastmaster Jim Day later. Now, please welcome to the center square, the ever interesting, fascinating, surprising Toastmaster Pam Scrimshire.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Rock. Yes, this is the section in table topics where we are speaking like so often we get caught and somebody asks us a question. We have to think immediately. Did you all notice, and I have to admit I didn't, that Tuesday was 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and it's just been a big deal and many, many things about numerology and numbers. So I thought we might talk about that. Now, I know nothing about numerology, so we're actually not going to talk about numerology. We are going to talk numbers. And the first numbers we're going to talk about, how long can these people talk at tabletop? Mr. Timer?
Good morning, Madam Table Topics Master. The table topics are 1 to 2 minutes with a 30-second deviation only at the end. At 1 minute, I will turn on the green, 1 minute and 30 seconds, the yellow, and at 2 minutes, the red. Please finish up within that 30 seconds after the red, or else the hook will come out. Madam Topic Master.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. Okay, now you know how long you may and how long you must speak. Numbers. What was your first telephone number and how many digits did it have? Toastmaster Jim Gould.
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, my first telephone number that I remember was 10 digit, no, only 7 digits, 492-405. 2. That was the home phone at 2 East 33rd Street in 080. All of these numbers have some significance, but it wasn't all that big of a deal. I remember that 492 was Hyacinth 2. Do you remember when they used words instead of the numbers in there? But I do remember when our phones changed to 10 digits and we had to start remembering our area codes, and we had to pay attention. And I really was happy when they came up with speed dial. Do you remember speed dial? You could put a bunch of numbers in there and you could star or pound and a number or two, and the person would just immediately be called. But those were in the days of landlines. Does anyone still have a landline anymore? I think that's pretty crazy. We gave up our landline way back in 2003. So another number for you. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gould. I'll admit my age. We had a party line as the first phone we had. You had to know the number of rings, or you could listen in on your neighbors' conversations. For those of you too young, look it up on Google, etc. Was math your favorite subject in school? And if not, well, it should have been, I think, but if not, what was? Toastmaster Lois Lane.
Oh. Miss Topic, Madam President. In my day, we called it multiplication. It was not my favorite subject, but I used my fingers a lot, and I had a hard time in multiplication. But I did enjoy it later on in high school. It is really a challenge to remember times and division. I'm trying very hard to be with everyone this morning, and I do my best. Madam Topic Chairman.
We're glad you're here. Thank you for sharing. What is the perfect age? Toastmaster Richmond.
Madam Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, I used to say that the span of 35 to 45 was the best decade for a woman, but the perfect age, I would have to say, that might be 72 at the moment. We'll see how far we can go. I think it has to do with whether or not you're a happy person. Any age there are so many things you can do no matter where you are. I mean, after you get 55 and you can get cheap coffee at McDonald's, all of those senior perks that you can start picking up, it pays off. It pays off. But yeah, this is the year I have to start taking money out of my IRA. I have to. And they haven't grown sufficiently for me to start taking out. So I don't know. That's why I'm back working again, folks. But just keep healthy. Healthy, any age can be the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Richmond. Should the U.S. give up our traditional measurements and move to the metric system? Toastmaster Scott May.
Thank you, Madam Topic Master. Before I answer that, yes, I remember my phone number as a kid. area code 201-946-4512, till we got a second number, 201-946-4242, when my brother was injured and needed his own phone, and I was jealous. And yes, these were the rotary phones. Remember those? Good memories. And yes, math was my favorite subject. Besides, of course, PE or recess or lunch. Those were, of course, always the favorite. Let's see. So now that I've answered some other questions, now I need to remember the question that you actually asked me, which I've hit the age that it has already slipped away. I did acknowledge the date the other day, though, that 22222. I thought that was pretty neat. I think a lot of people actually got married on that day because then they can remember their anniversary, which is a wise thing to do as well. I got married on 9/8/7, September 8th, 2007, which helps me to remember. And of course, we actually did get married at 6:54 p.m. So it was 954 or 987-654-321. With that, Madam Table Topics Master.
And we've demonstrated how to keep talking even when we can't remember what we're talking about. As one ages, this becomes a skill that I think that I am using a lot, although I can't remember actually if I am. Maybe I'm not. Hard to say. Could you balance your checkbook without a calculator? Toastmaster Chris Gould.
What's balancing a checkbook? If I look at the account online, what's a checkbook? Madam Topic Master. There was a time when I actually taught this. My law school had an agreement with the local high school that they loaned a student, me, a law school student, to teach a class called street law, I think it was. And we were supposed to teach these high school kids basic skills of living in the world, like balancing your checkbook, paying rent. I thought it was such a great idea, something that high school kids should learn. You're not born knowing how to balance your checkbook, and it's something that you're going to need to do when you get out. But thank goodness for online banking and computer programs such as QuickBooks. I could not teach that class today because I do not know how. If I go online and my bank balance has something in it, I'm good. Madam Topic Master.
Probably for most of us, if the bank has some money, it's good. Well, I'm hoping that with COVID seems to be passing, we'll be doing more things. So how far from home do you hope your next vacation will be? Toastmaster Anna Ilson.
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. Funny you should ask me that because I am the non-traveler of the whole group. But I would like to borrow a lot of people's table topics today. I too remember my phone number in Havana, which is very amazing because I don't think I ever phoned myself or anything, but it was B92912. It had a letter in it. I remember my phone number in Madrid growing up, 253-8659. And it was in those days that you got a busy tone if the phone was busy. And my father, when he was trying to get a hold of my mother, would get so frustrated that he had to call the doorman downstairs. The doorman called through the intercom and told my nanny, tell Anna to get off the phone. Her father's trying to call. And now I am one of those oddities who still have a landline right here. My daughter Vanessa got me this phone because I don't know how to retrieve messages in it. I don't answer it unless I'm right here and I see who's calling, which is usually sales calls. But I do have a friend in Madrid, Spain, that I call her and it doesn't cost me a penny. And we have 30 and 40-minute conversations. It must have to do with the contract that Alex, my husband, did with AT&T 100 years ago when we moved here. But my friend in Spain is convinced that I have a magic phone that doesn't charge us any money. She thinks it's the phone itself. So I have some pretty funny stories about phones. I am not planning to travel anywhere. I've been one of those happy campers with COVID. It suits me just fine. With Zoom and being connected to all of you, I'm a happy camper. Madam Table Topics.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ilson. Well, I hadn't realized how many old things I mentioned today that we will no longer ever use again. Landlines, I know no phone numbers now. I don't know any of the phone numbers. I just touch the name and it appears. I can remember mine. Mine was Midway 25906. Mr. Timer, how did our people do?
Madam Topic Master, all of our, no, one person did not qualify. Timing was Jim Gould at 1:42. Lois Lane only had 56 seconds, so she did not qualify. Alita Richmond, 1 minute, 8 seconds. Scott May, 1 minute, 25. Chris Gould, 1 minute, 31. And Anna Ilson, 1 minute, 58. Regarding phone numbers, I wonder where the part of my brain went that used to remember all of the phone numbers. Madam Topic Master.
Thank you. Oh, great. I was hoping that we would have a poll. We have a poll up. Please vote for the person you thought was the best table topic speaker. And I will return. I'm not even going to turn over the control, Carmine. I'm going to return the control of the space to our Toastmaster of the morning, Toastmaster Rock.
Thank you, Toastmaster Scripture, for a fascinating, thought-provoking table topic session all about numbers. We all had a lot of fun and reminisce, and we can be more conversant now about numbers. Thank you, Toastmaster Bastine, for the poll. And thank you, Toastmaster Dave, for timing. We are going to take a 4-minute break. And that during that time, I'd like to hear from distinguished Toastmaster Mary Helen Day with regard to her speech title and timing. And Toastmaster Barkley, you have yours in the on the website.
I have it on the website too, Toastmaster Rock.
Oh, okay.
Unless I didn't save it. Oh, shoot. Didn't save it.
I've done that too. So can you just tell me or,
I can barely
chat
remember
me?
myself. Okay, we'll chat. I'll chat.
Okay.
Okay, I'll chat to you, Marie.
I'm sorry.
Darn it. A good lesson to everybody. Save.
I want to make sure Toastmaster Bastine is evaluating Distinguished Toastmaster Day and Toastmaster Toso DTM Barkley, correct?
Mr. Quinn wants to do this one if it's okay.
Yeah, I don't have anyone.
So I'm sorry.
I don't have anyone.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't have anyone. Sorry about that. My mic was down. I don't have anyone.
Who is evaluating Toastmaster?
I'm evaluating Toastmaster Barkley, Tom Quinn.
What about the first speaker? Okay, so all right, so.
But I believe Toastmaster Carmine Tuzo is going to evaluate Distinguished Toastmaster Mary Helen Day, and Toastmaster Quinn is evaluating Distinguished Toastmaster Kip Barkley.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Good to go.
All right.
if anybody's interested in a follow-up to my holding the phone.
That
People
didn't work
always-
with mine.
Why not? I mean,
It's an Android. Is that a difference?
no. There are settings, so maybe your volume
Oh.
controls are set to zoom in and out rather than to shutter button. You have to be on the camera. But people always ask, well, should I hold it this way
Oh,
or
okay.
this way? You know, and it does not matter because your phone knows which way is up. So whichever is more comfortable for you.
As long as you
I
don't
think
put
I
your
just took a
finger in
picture.
front of the lens.
As
Don't
long
put
as
your
you don't
finger
put
in
your
front of the
finger-
lens.
I want to know the tip of what will get rid of all the photographs that I don't want to keep anymore without myself having to do anything.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Aw.
You have to delete them.
Okay, it worked.
Okay, are you
Chris.
5 to 7, Mary Helen?
Yes, I am 5 to 7.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it worked, Chris. You have to be in the camera mode. You can't just click it and take pictures. Okay, good. Good tip. Good tip.
And there's
Yep.
a library of good tips on the Geeks website. A whole library of things.
It's unbelievable what's on the Geeks website.
It's too much. It's actually, don't even bother.
I'm even afraid to
No, I
ask
need to go
Geeks
there.
anything.
I need to visit there today. I'm in some trouble.
Yes.
4 minutes.
Thank you. Thank
You can ask
distinguished
questions.
Toastmaster Jim Day. We will resume our Early Bird Toastmasters meeting at this time. Prepare yourselves for some fantastic speeches from our distinguished Toastmasters. First up, we have the fascinating Mary Helen Day, who will be speaking on happy endings or not. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Mary Helen Day.
Fellow
You forgot.
Toastmasters, right at the beginning of the meeting, we heard this statement from Toastmaster Baroni. We don't know how these things are going to end. Ooh. Now, I was just reading an article in the Washington Post the other day about a woman who does spoilers. She doesn't care to wait until the end of anything. She wants to see how things are going to end, to see if she wants to watch something or whatever. She said that after having children, her tolerance for stress and tension had just gone down, and she needed to embrace the idea of having something that she knows is going to turn out okay. Now, for instance, she gives an example. Now, any of you here know Jack Reacher, who he is? Well, he is a character in novels. He is this independent guy, big guy that travels the United States with just an ATM card, a phone, maybe the clothes in his back, and not much more. But in every book, he manages to meet a situation. He takes care of the situation. And by the end of the book, it is all resolved. You know that when you read a Jack Reacher book, that everything's going to turn out okay. And truth, honesty, and the American way will prevail. What a great idea, that sort of happy ending. Well, this may not have anything to do with that, but it does in a way. So let me explain. Yes, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, I enrolled in 23andMe. Now, anyone who knows what that is, it's a genetic testing site. And the reason I enrolled in 23andMe wasn't to know all the relatives I had in this universe, but it was really more about their medical profile to find out whether I had the genetic profile for Alzheimer's. Now, any of you Toastmasters here, you know we're all concerned about losing our minds. I mean, there's been certain expressions of this all morning long about people forgetting. So I wanted to know if I had that genetic component, and that's why I signed up for 23andMe. However, the side benefit was I got to see all my relatives, whoever they were, that were on that site. And believe me, there are hundreds of relatives. Why? You know, my father came from a French-Canadian family. There were 9 kids in his family. There were 5 kids in my mother's family. And they met during World War II. So after World War II, all those families just dispersed all over the country. So growing up, I didn't know that many of my aunts, my uncles, or my cousins. So every now and then I would spy into 23andMe and say, who don't I know now? And there would be many of them. Recently, I got an email from 23andMe. Oh, you have an older relative. So curiosity is my thing. So I logged into the site. Oh, lo and behold, this is a first cousin, someone that is close to me that I do not know, but I do know of. And where does this cousin live? Oh, they live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Oh my goodness. My sister lives in Santa Fe and my niece lives in Albuquerque. Oh, wow, this is great. I got to contact that person. Now, I knew they weren't first cousins. I knew they were first cousins once removed. Now, what does that mean? That means that is the child of my first cousin, and my first cousin who lives in California that I don't know, and I didn't know his son either. So I typed up the note, hey, hey, listen, I'm your cousin. You have a cousin in Santa Fe. You have a cousin in Albuquerque. Isn't that exciting? Oh, they wrote me back. Yes, this is really interesting. Tell me more. So I wrote back, yes, this is interesting. But first they told me, well, I called my dad and he said, I think I know who you are. You're the daughter of Edmund Fleury. And I said, yes. And my grandmother was Rose Fleury. Now, Rose Fleury was the matriarch. She was the oldest. She ended up dying at 104 years old. But my father was down the line at 6th in place. So you can understand that there was a lot of differences in ages. I said, yes. And I wrote back and I said, my sister lives in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and her daughter lives in Albuquerque, but she has a store in Old Town. Now, if anyone has ever visited Albuquerque, Old Town is a tourist spot. Wonderful little stores. You can go buy all the things local to Southwest New Mexico. And he goes, oh my goodness, I have a store in Old Town too. Wow, I go, wow, that is so great. Oh, that's wonderful. So I told my niece, and she was so excited to have a local cousin, because growing up, there wasn't anything around in her mother's family that was around in terms of friends, relatives, whatsoever. So he shared what his store was. She went over, she Facebook friended him, and then later on went over with her husband to visit him. So exciting. Maybe we have a connection going here. Later on, unfortunately, I get an email from my sister that said, oh, Kate and her husband went to visit them, but he was very, very cold. They even bought $100 worth of merchandise from them, but it didn't seem like he wanted to continue the conversation. Oh, such disappointment. What could have happened? She thought maybe it's Kate's postings on Facebook. Now, Kate used to be a Bernie girl, and then she ended up marrying someone from South Dakota who happens to be somewhat of a survivalist. So you can know what side of the fence she's on now. So some of her postings were a little bit ranting and raving a little bit. And so she said, well, maybe it was some of my postings on Facebook that did it. And the best thing that came out of this conversation was a conversation my sister had with her daughter that said, oh, maybe you might want to tone down some of your postings and just kind of keep your political views to yourself, because obviously he is scared off. Now, I had other opinions. My opinion was maybe this guy was not socially adept, meaning that even when you're meeting someone new, that you welcome them and you say hi and you say, I'm so glad to meet you. That's probably what that person should have done, but it didn't happen. So what is this all? What are we talking about, Jack Reacher here, bringing it back? Well, that was the end of my happy ending, which I had envisioned in my mind, relatives getting together. Oh, it's going to be wonderful, dancing off into the sunset. That did not happen. So I think the best thing in my case is just go buy one of those Jack Reacher books. I know that I can depend on him to deliver the goods. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Dave, for an adventuresome story with 23andMe. Fascinating. You are conversant in 23andMe. Our next speaker is also a distinguished Toastmaster on the innovative planning path. He's in the Leadership 5, Performance Leadership, and he's going to tell us about leading a pledge drive. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Kip Barkley.
Thank you, Marie Rock, fellow Toastmasters. Yes, I'm a church person. I could be a synagogue person, and I'm going to go lead an annual pledge drive. Pray for me. I will go do that. Well, I have this high performance leadership project dangling for years. What am I ever going to do with it? Now, that is where you work with a guidance committee. And I've done these before in the old Toastmasters program, and this is similar. So I thought, well, someday I will do something and check this project off my list. And then there I was. I had agreed to do this pledge drive, and I said, aha, this works as a project for Pathways High Performance Leadership. So the next thing I did was run and find a guidance committee. I've got Tom Quinn and Pam Scrimshire there. I reminded them they are advisors, not my supervisors, but yeah, I'm really glad they're there. And then I went and read the instructions. See, they seem to think what you do is you get your committee and then go find a project. Nah, projects are too hard to find. I had the project. Now I can go get a committee. So I'm supposed to, in this speech, tell you what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to come back later and tell you what I really did and what happened. Well, I agreed, and I said about, let's see, I wanted the financial data on our members. I had to go get approvals, sign disclaimers for.
Kip, unmute, please. We lost you at disclaimers.
Over, because it was really good stuff I was saying there. Dun, dun. So I agreed to do this high performance leadership program. Well, I wanted to get it done, and I knew what they were from the old Toastmasters. You do a project that involves people and stuff and maybe some money, and it's a big deal project. And if you've never done project management, this is a wonderful professional step to go do this beloved high performance leadership. So I chose Tom Quinn and Pam Scrimshire to be my advisors. They agreed. I'm ever so grateful. And then I sat down and read the instructions. They say usually you pick your committee and then go find a project. Well, committees are easier to find around here than projects. So I already had a project. So I was doing it that way. Then I'm supposed to explain what I'm going to do. Well, I'm going to talk to the people who did this last year and get their experiences, positive and negative. I want financial data on our people. I want to know who is a good prospect and who has been a flake, so I can focus properly, because this is a fundraiser. And last year they did a beautiful glossy brochure that nobody read. So this year I'm going to go put it on the internet. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. And then I'm going to make a few pre-calls, because things are different now with COVID. People are disconnected and whatever and crazed and overloaded. I want to know what minefield I'm walking into. And then we'll have a kickoff Sunday, and 3 weeks later, a closing Sunday. I will recruit some volunteers to call people. A lot of them won't get the phone answered, but I'll do most of the calling. Well, that's just part of the job. And yeah, I want to hear where these people are at. I want to know what's going on in their world. So this is what the project is. So I'll meet with my committee 4 or 5 times. We're going to do we've done the what I'm going to do stuff. And then before this kickoff, we're going to meet again. And I'll tell them what I've accomplished so far and what has unraveled. And then mid canvas, we'll talk again, and I'll talk about whatever is going on. And then afterwards, the cleanup. Now, also, my dear wife is a member of this church. That's why I go there. I'll go to any church my wife will attend. And well, I know enough not to criticize her children. I know that. And they're good kids that don't really deserve a lot of criticism. But she sees her church as her children. And there's always room for improvement in a church. And so this is going to be a relationship stressor in my and as I do this. And I'll be talking to my advisors who are saying, tone down the snarkle and things like that. But yes, you will hear, and I think, yes, it'll be a month. In a month, you'll get the conclusion speech. They will hear stuff in between. And I'm going to do a high performance leadership project. I encourage you to look for some situation in your life that this will fit if you happen to have a high performance leadership project. 5 or 6, maybe it's 7 of the Pathways Paths all contain this. So it's laying in wait for you. This is why I pick paths that don't have this thing in it. But that's what I'm doing. And I'll tell you how it goes, because I don't want you stuck in pathways. And I want to get this particular path off my to-do list. Fellow Toastmasters, thank you.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Barker, for being conversant in fundraising for your church. Wow, a courageous move. And what brilliant advisors you have chosen. My compliments. Now, may we have the timing requirements, Distinguished Toastmaster Day, or the timing results?
The timing results are Mary Helen at 7 minutes, 22 seconds, just under the wire. Kip Barkley at 6 minutes, 21 seconds, both qualified.
Thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Day. Please send notes to our, both for your favorite speaker and send notes to the speakers. We had, back in the day, we had little paper notes that we sent to each other. Now we do it all in chat. And the speakers learn from everyone. So please take the time to do that. Now, please welcome to the center square our president and general evaluator, Toastmaster Paolo Barone.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, rock. It's time now for one of the most important elements of a Toastmasters meeting. It's what really sets apart a Toastmaster meeting from any other similar meeting, the evaluations, because it's through the evaluation that we learn to listen when we evaluate something, and we learn to listen and implement the constructive critique when we are the speaker to be evaluated. Today, we have 2 amazing Toastmasters evaluating 2 DTMs. Let's start with the first evaluation. Evaluating DTM Day is Toastmaster Tom Quinn. Let's welcome to the virtual lectern Toastmaster Quinn. Take it away.
Gracias, agimus, but I am not evaluating Mary Helen. I might be walking with her later this morning, and I hope I am, but I believe
apologies. Yes, my apologies.
No necesito.
It is a Toastmaster Tuoso evaluating DTM Day. Please, Toastmaster Tuoso.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and particularly Mary Helen Day. I've been privileged and honored to evaluate her over many years. Many years. And one of the things about Mary Helen Day is that she's a fantastic storyteller. I'm not going to talk a lot about her great talents. I'm going to talk more about her subtle capacities and abilities. And there are many. Mary Helen gave us a speech about recollections of family and tied it in with some of her reading of novels. So let's talk about the ending speech, the ending of the speech. The end of my happy ending didn't happen. The end of my happy ending didn't happen. That's such a great play on words. The ending of my happy ending didn't happen. It was too subtle, Mary Helen. It was too subtle. The ending of my happy ending didn't happen. And then I go back to reading Jack Reacher. Because Jack Reacher delivers the goods. What you expected. Some of the other subtle things that you do, and this is what happens when you evaluate one person many times. You become familiar with their style, their capacities, their abilities. So Mary Helen loves to use certain verbal sounds that have no meaning. She'll go, she'll go, ah, she'll go, wow, she'll go, hey. Oh, such disappointment. If you don't pay attention carefully and you don't watch carefully the screen, you miss all of that. You just pay attention to what you're saying. Her subtlety is what has made her a distinguished Toastmaster, but her ability to focus is really clear. One of the things about this medium is that this square can't contain a lot of things that you do. So we only saw you from shoulder to head. There were some hand movements, some arm movements. So our illustrious president always says, stand up, and so you could see full body. And so some of these gestures could have intensified your speech impact. You said, oh, wow. The story of your relatives is the content. The gestures are what create the impact. You add to this club in so many ways, and the subtlety sometimes gets overlooked because we get caught up in the words in the story. The end of my happy ending didn't happen, but the end of your happens for me every time you speak, because I learned so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster, also for the great evaluation. And let's move to evaluation number 2. And let's make sure I get this right. To evaluate DTM Berkeley, today we have a Toastmaster Queen. Let's welcome to the virtual lectern with a huge round of applause. Let's welcome back, this time for real, to the virtual lectern, Toastmaster Queen.
Merciful heavens, Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters, and particularly my mentor, Kip Barkley. I am a conversant conscript. I was made to join the happy group to guide him. And today I'm going to add to my membership of that group my comments regarding his first talk. I liked how you opened it as a high performance project. You explained what you were faced with sort of reluctantly, and rather than having the enthusiasm to induce others to follow your path, you talked about how difficult it was. And it is. I'm not going to discount it all. To deal with getting money for a project from a church is like opening an oyster. Opening, you find a pearl in it, and sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. So I'm going to be a little critical of you because you are a DTM, and there are some things that I know you have the capability to improve upon. You do a rabbit, a yeah. You use that as a filler in your talks, and that's unnecessary. It detracts from the purpose of what you're trying to communicate. Purpose of your project is to get money from someone and to please your wife. So you had a dual purpose. I think you effectively did that, but I would have liked to have seen more of that plan. You have a great brochure, and I think it would have been good to show that. Somebody has to do this job. That's your project. You've volunteered for it, and this is what I expected to see you say today. Overall, though, neatly packaged. It's a little rough, sort of like carving a piece of art out of a block of wood. You're getting there, and I'm not your critic, but I am your God. And so I am glad that you've chosen me for this arduous task of which I am not conversant at all. But thank you for the opportunity, Kip, and thank you, fellow Toastmasters, for listening to my rant and rave. And I'm on time. Oh my God. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Toastmaster Queen. Two great evaluations. But I didn't expect anything less from these two amazing Toastmasters. Let's see now the report from, let's start with the Toastmaster Bastien. Toastmaster Bastien, how do you do with the verbal pauses?
No. What about the timing?
Timing and voting.
Timing.
Correct. Yes.
Unfortunately, Carmine Tuzo went way over at 3 minutes, 51 seconds. Tom Quinn qualified at 2 minutes, 52 seconds.
Okay. Thank you, DTM Day. So let's vote anyway. I mean, it's a difficult to vote, but let's vote for the best anyway. All right. Difficult. Okay. Toastmaster Bastien, how do we do with the verbal pauses?
Thank you, President and General Evaluator. We had a few, Lois Lane with one ah, Toastmaster Lois Lane with one ah, Toastmaster Jim Gould with and Toastmaster Quinn with a and one ah. Also, if I can say, because I don't necessarily understand all the verbal pauses and things so much, because like, for instance, when Carmen Tuzo speaks, there's verbal pauses, which I actually find like really good, because I'm looking forward to seeing it's almost like a buildup. So when you say verbal pauses, it seems like that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't, that's something I would like to know in the future. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Toastmaster Bastien. What I mean by verbal pauses are not really pauses, because pauses cannot be verbal. When I say verbal pauses are the fillers. You like. So pauses are pause. A verbal pause is not a pause. So yeah, I agree with you. Toastmaster Toast had amazing pauses, because the pauses The silence is golden in a speech. All right. Toastmaster Richmond from Pennsylvania. Unforgettable phrases today?
Yes, Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters. First of all, I apologize to all of the table topics presenters. I was so absolutely engaged by the table topics today. I didn't listen for good language. But first of all, I'd like to point out that our Toastmaster Rock, when she introduced Toastmaster Mary Helen as the fascinating Mary Helen Day, that was excellent. Toastmaster Day used a lot of good phrases. She used Paolo's statement from the beginning of the meeting to introduce her speech. It tied in perfectly. That is a talent. Mary Helen can pull something out from present time. She pointed out that we're all concerned about losing our minds. Going on, Kip Barkley, he's so funny. Committees are easier to find than projects. He's working on a high performance leadership project that involve people, stuff, and maybe some money. His does involve money. It's a fundraiser, not a fundraiser. But this project is a relationship stressor, and he wants to get it off his to-do list. Carmine, in evaluating Mary Helen, pointed out her ability, her subtle competencies and abilities, and how her gestures are what create the impact. Tom Quinn, in evaluating Toastmaster Barkley, pointed out that getting money from the church is like opening an oyster. He did note one thing that for a suggestion was to drop those yeah. Kip does do that. That's part of his personality. But he was glad to be chosen for this arduous task. However, the Grammarian Award today goes to Toastmaster Mary Helen Day. In addition to all of the great things that she did, she explained to us what a first cousin once removed actually meant. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the report, Madame Grammarian. So we both, okay. Amazing meeting. Every Thursday is a great productive meeting. Excellent job as a Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Rock. Table topics, I loved the topics. I like the fact that you first mentioned the topic and then the name. That's the way to go. Two amazing speeches, beautiful, and of course, two great evaluations. Let's keep using the DTM. Let's mention the DTM designation, because these folks worked really hard to become a distinguished Toastmaster. It's not an easy job. Every time I see the list of things to do, I say, wow, unbelievable. So it's an honor. It's a great thing to have in a club so many distinguished Toastmasters. Let's make them feel good and proud to be a distinguished Toastmaster every time we mention their name. And also, let's make an effort to pronounce our names correctly. If someone doesn't pronounce your name correctly, let them know. Let's make sure every single name is pronounced correctly. All right. That ends my job as a general evaluator. Let's welcome to the stage the Toastmaster of the Day, Rock.
Thank you, Toastmaster Baroni, our general evaluator. This is the peak of the week, and Toastmaster Richmond, I think it is a fundraiser. We always have fun and laughs when we get together and learn so many things. I want to thank Toastmaster Jim Gould for sending me the results of the polls. And as an aside, Toastmaster Bastine, it's verbal pauses. So when people are filling up space with words like or, as opposed to just silence. That it's the verbal pause that we're looking for. Now for our winners today, my gosh, it was hard. It was hard to choose. We had so many great speakers. Our best topics speaker is our non-traveler, Zoom traveler, Toastmaster Anna Eelson. Our best evaluator today is Toastmaster Tom Quinn. And our best speaker today is our distinguished Toastmaster, Mary Helen Day. Thank you, and I return control back to our president, Toastmaster Paolo Barone.
Thank you, excellent job, Toastmaster Rock, thank you. Distinguished Toastmaster Berkeley, any announcement, anything new happening in the Toastmasters world that we should know about?
No, I don't know of any trainings. There are special programs that happen, but if I see them in my email, I'll tell you about them. But no, nothing else new.
Thank you. We don't have any guests today. Any members comment?
Aren't you speaking this weekend? I know it's a contest and not representing our club, but that's okay. I want to hear you. Is there a way that they would send out the link to those of us who are not in whatever the area is?
Thank you for your interest. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes, I will be competing on Saturday morning at 9:30. I'm going to represent officially Club Awesome, but every club I'm a member of is in my heart. So even if I don't, because I had to pick one, I cannot pick all of them. So this time I picked the Club Awesome. To be fair, because on the humorous speech, I'm representing Earlybirds, but every club is in my heart. Every club is represented there on the stage on Saturday morning for the area contest. I can't remember the number of the area. Distinguished Toastmaster Berkeley, you know what is the area? I don't know.
I would have to look it up. I'm not sure where Club Awesome is.
But yes, I will be emailing the link to register for the area contest. It's on
Yeah. Send it to all the members and we see who shows up. Yes, good.
You're all welcome to fly with the eagle on Saturday.
The eagle.
Thank you. All right. Any other comment? All right.